All right. Hello, Manash.
Hello.
How are you?
I am moderately well. How are you?
I like to hear that. Moderately well. I'll use that too. I'm moderately well.
Moderately well. Okay.
Who knows how Geronimo is? You know, he never answers our texts. Never wants to join our little podcasts. That's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. We'll hit it big and not include him. It's totally cool. All right. So it's gonna be, I think, a free agent talk today. Me and Manash are gonna pick our top 5 free agents that maybe we not necessarily that we think the Dodgers are gonna sign or maybe even want to sign, but would like to see some interest in.
Okay. I think the best way to start this off though is talking about the players on our roster, or I should say that we're on our roster that are becoming free agents, and be a priority out of those players and who would be less of a priority out of those players. Starting off, I'm going to say, in my opinion, our free agent that's the least of a priority is Jansen, because A, he's most likely going to ask for a lot for a reliever, and B, we already have, a good bullpen. We have pitchers who can replace him in the closer role, as well as others, who could in 7th, 8th inning. So I do think Jansen is the least of our concerns as far as players that we need to sign back. So do you agree? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously it'd be nice to have him back because he has been the best reliever in Dodger history by far, no doubt. Yeah. But there does come a point when you do have to move on, and it just so happens that this year, for the first time in many years, it's bad timing for him because everyone's a free agent right now for us.
Yeah.
Not everyone, obviously, but we do have some major holes to fill, major decisions to make. So yeah, I might be with you on that. Jansen might not be the top priority right now.
Yeah. Okay. Secondly, I should mention, I do feel like the pitchers who we sign back, let's say if we sign back Kershaw, Scherzer, whatever we choose in that regard, it kind of weighs heavily on what the situation will be with Trevor Bauer. Because at this point, we don't know if he's going to pitch next year or if he's not. If he's not, I would say we might even want to consider signing back both Kershaw and Scherzer, But, obviously if he is, it would be better to just pick one of them. So there's that to think about. I would say Kershaw. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing Kershaw will be less expensive at this point.
Probably.
What are your would you agree?
Yeah, I think he will be probably less expensive. I don't know by how much, but Scherzer right now just finished top 3 in the National League Cy Young Award voting. So yeah, he's gonna get another huge payday, at least annually. That one is a tough decision. You're right. The Trevor Bauer thing plays a lot into it because if he is going to be on a roster next year, if it's confirmed, then they already have started. They have a guy who's going to eat innings. Just from a pure baseball standpoint, and you don't need to spend money there because you have Bauer. You're going to have one of Kershaw or Scherzer, and the rest filling out the rotation is just probably going to be more depth signings like Andrew Heaney. If I were me, I would prioritize those two before heading to the bats, Kershaw and Scherzer. I think I'd probably, as of right now, based on what I know, which isn't much, but just based on information that's out there, I probably would prioritize Scherzer a little over Kershaw, just because I'm really uncertain about the whole Kershaw injury situation.
That's true. Yeah, I would also say Scherzer typically seems to be more of a reliable pitcher than Kershaw, especially postseason-wise. Kershaw, don't get me wrong, in the postseason, he has had many great starts, but I feel like he still has a little bit of inconsistency issues in the postseason, whereas Scherzer, even though, fatigue gets caught up to him, he's shown a lot that in pressured games, he can always come through. So that's my 2 cents on Kershaw versus Scherzer.
Yeah, that's another thing, durability-wise, because you mentioned Scherzer with fatigue, and they're both Kershaw's going to be 34, Scherzer's going to be 37, I believe. But they both have had a tremendous amount of innings in the last decade. They're not 2015 Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw. Maybe performance-wise still right there or pretty close to it, but they do have a lot of mileage in those arms. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough choice. Honestly, if it were up to me, I'd keep both of them and let everyone else walk. Yeah, and this whole Trevor Bauer situation doesn't help the uncertainty of it. Speaking of which, so payroll right now, if you include Bauer's, right around the 200 million mark. If you take him off, it's going to be around 160 with the Andrew Heaney signing, based on the numbers that we know. So, I mean, if you're going to go for a big time free agent, I mean, that really gives you only room for one plus kind of a mid-level free agent right there. Because Scherzer's probably going to command a high average annual value of, it's going to start with a 3. It's going to start at 30 million at least. I think it could even get up to 35.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there goes that 40 million. You know what also would be nice for us fans to know, and I think for Andrew Friedman to know too, is like, what's going to be the budget next year, you know?
That's
like,
true.
Dodger ownership has, for the most part, been pretty been better than most other ownerships in terms of how to spend it. Lenient, yeah, that's a good word. They've until I think 2020, they didn't hit the luxury tax in 2020. I think they would have if it weren't for the COVID thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously in 2021 they totally just blew past it, which I don't think they're going to do again for a while. But who knows? Maybe they might. I mean, if they're going to do that, they're going to keep the band together. And they're going to sign everyone, mostly everyone. But for me personally, I think I said this in the last podcast. It would be a little time to do a little reset, just so we can continue to keep going on this run of ours. I don't think the window necessarily has to close just because some of our guys get older and leave. I think we can still build a good machine because we've been doing so for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, definitely. So we discussed the pitchers. We discussed Jansen.
Let me say something about Kershaw though.
Okay.
If money weren't an issue, I think I'd prioritize him. And the whole injury thing, there was an uncertainty there. I probably would prioritize him, not just because he's a legend, he's an icon of the franchise, arguably the best pitcher in Dodger franchise history. If not, he's right 1-2 with Koufax. But this year he had a pretty good season. I know we had like this fight in our text group about him being an all-star or not, but I think he was all-star worthy because if you look past the ERA of 3.5, I would say.
I was going to say what you were probably going to say, that his other stats, despite ERA, were actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, what you can control as a pitcher, he was doing. His strikeout rate increased similar to 2017, which was his last, good prime Kershaw year. His walk rate, if you filter it to the number of innings he pitched, was around 120. For all pitchers who pitched at least 120 innings, he led the majors in walk rate. So that strikeout to walk, he had really strong command. He had elite level command. And the home run rate also, which is something that he's had trouble controlling over the last few years. It was, I think, right around 1. I mean, he's still, I think he's, if not elite Kershaw, he's right on that edge, you know? And
true.
If you look at all the advanced metrics, go ahead, right off the top of your head, just who do you think were the top 10 pitchers in baseball this season? You don't have to do 10, but just off the top of your head, who comes to mind?
Well, let's see. There was Garrett Cole. There was, this season?
Yeah, 2021. Garrett Cole's one of them.
Okay, sure. Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole. Robbie Ray put up a surprising season. See, I want to say Gosman, but he trailed off. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you look at it overall, he was still better pitchers in the league. Yeah.
Yeah, still decent. There's Scherzer, obviously. I would put Kershaw in there.
The thing is, you go through every metric. You go through his K per 9, his walk rate, his home run rate, his expected ERA, expected FIP, all that stuff. He is right up there. He's 9, 10, 11, 12 in every single metric. Yeah, I do think he is still a top 10 pitcher because an ERA is just what it is. It's an average.
See, that's true. I agree.
It kind of skews some poor outings and bad outings and leaves it right in the middle, but it's not really indicative of who you are if you go individually, start by start.
And I agree that based on, let's say all his other stats, he would give your team a very good chance to win. He would be a valuable pitcher in the postseason as well. And he's shown that. No matter all the hate he gets, he's had some amazing starts in the World Series. The two of which I remember the most were his Game 1 start against Houston in 2017 and his start against the Rays in 2020. So he definitely has stepped up and can step up.
And he's adapted too.
Yeah.
Amidst declining velocity, just being around the league more, he went to Driveline, which is like a freaking baseball nerd camp for young pitchers nowadays. But I mean, it's where it's just another place you go to and to try to really look at the intricate details of how you perform. He went to that. He's been a guy who's usually been really stubborn, kind of set in his way because, I mean, he's freaking Clayton Kershaw. He never really had to change, and now the league forced him to change, and some pitchers don't do that. Some pitchers will stay, or major league players in general, they just stick with what's got him there, and they'll just trail off. But Kershaw, he's shown that he has the ability and the willingness to bounce back and adapt.
Yeah, for sure. So
I wouldn't bet against Kershaw. That's the thing. Yeah, I would never bet against Kershaw.
Definitely not. Yeah. So with that, Seager and Taylor are pretty much the two that stand out to me. And I've actually kind of thought about it.
Steven Souza Jr. doesn't stand out to you? No.
Well, yeah, Souza. Well, yeah. But yeah, between Seager and Taylor, it's honestly hard to choose. I mean, if I were to try and pick, because Seager will put up better stats overall.
Offensively, yeah.
Offensively, definitely will. However, Taylor is that kind of hitter that just pressure situations and clutch situations, I feel like puts up more of a battle, grinds at bats, and I feel like he is a bit more of a clutch hitter sometimes. And we've seen it from time to time. We know what he's capable of in the postseason. And the other thing is Taylor, on top of that, will be cheaper. So what do you want? More overall offense for a higher price, or a player who maybe won't give you those same stats, but will give you great at bats and clutch hitting for a bit of a lower price? You know, that's kind of the debate between those two.
Well, he's cheaper relative to Seager, but he's still going to command a hefty contract, I still think.
Yeah, definitely. Over 20 a year.
Yeah, it could in that 15-20 range. If he gets less years, probably could get up to 25. Or yeah. But
didn't Taylor get a qualifying offer and he declined it?
So yeah, Seager and Taylor declined it. I think that also is another reason why maybe the hitters aren't as much of a priority, because if they go, you know, we get a draft pick, we get 2 draft picks, and honestly, our farm system has kind of taken a hit over the last few years because we've been dominating so much.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're right. If it were up to me, or if money wasn't a big factor, I probably would lean more towards Taylor. Well, I guess in that situation, money would be kind of a factor because I'd have to be choosing between the two.
Yeah.
Right? But
if money wasn't a factor, I'd pick everyone.
Yeah. But yeah, probably Taylor, just because of different things he can do. He does have also that cold heartbeat, like you mentioned. I mean, it's just tough, you know, because Seager's an elite hitter too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got just 2 amazing performers there in different ways.
But here's the thing. What I'm about to say might be controversial, but Chris Taylor earned every penny of his contract. Oh, the contract that he's going to get. Corey Seager, I think
agree.
It's going to be more of the, well, obviously the talent, but I think it's going to be a lot of it is going to be in terms of the market too.
Yeah.
Just everything's going to be inflated with all the shortstops out there, all the high-end shortstops. It's just going to keep pushing that price up.
Especially with Correa now.
Yeah. You got Correa, which is tier A. Then tier B, you got Marcus Semien, Trevor Story, maybe Javier Baez if you want to put him in that threshold. Overall, it's just a lot of really good talent out there in the free agent market.
Oh, yeah. So, Souza Jr. What do you think about
What, you don't want him back?
I mean,
I don't know.
I honestly don't know a lot about him.
All I know is that he's the guy who struck out looking at 3 straight fastballs against Taylor Matzik in Game 6.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I mean, that is Tyler Matzik we're talking about, you know? The guy with the biggest...
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, you're right. No, we can't fault him for that.
Yeah.
But I think looking at Steven Souza, it segues into kind of the free agents that we want, because I think that is an area of need. When you're relying on Albert Pujols and Steven Souza to deliver big for you in the most important game of the year, that's just telling of the lack of bench depth you have there. In previous years, we've had guys like Kike, Jock Peterson. We even had Edwin Rios last year, who was lost to injury.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I mean, he'll come back, but will he be the same?
I question Rios. Because sometimes Rios is like almost like Chris Davis, let's say, with the strikeouts just going way up. So
yeah, it's a lot of swing and miss there.
Yeah, at his best, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're relying on these young players to, be performing at their best when they're not getting much playing time.
Yeah.
I was reading the other day, I think it was MLB.com, they were reviewing the roster overall, and they said Matt Beatty was their top left-handed hitting option. It's like, no offense to Matt Beatty, but when he's your top left-handed hitting option off the bench, there's something missing there, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Right now, you chose Scherzer, right? And Taylor? So
I
that's
chose
2.
Scherzer.
So you got 3 more.
3 more. Well, okay, I'll have to go through the list. What would you say was our weakness this year? Were we weaker against right-handed pitching or left-handed pitching? Because that's something I want to consider.
I think we were weaker against just breaking balls in general, right or left.
Breaking balls. Well,
so that's I think it's approach thing. Major league hitters are, I mean, if you can't hit a fastball, you're not going to be in the big leagues.
yeah, true.
And now we've transitioned in an era where it's more spin over velocity. And so the Dodgers are always on the cutting edge of the breaking ground of things. This is one of them where they're going to keep competing at the pace they've been over the last few years.
Well, in that case, the question becomes what free agent out there is, let's say, a better breaking ball hitter, or someone, I guess you could say someone like Taylor, who puts up good at bats and can hit off-speed pitches. Let's see, did you have any specific people in mind? Because
No, honestly, I was going to cheat.
really, okay.
Yeah. So we have Scherzer and Kershaw. Those were my 2. Then I was going to go another depth starter, another right-hand hitter and a left-hand hitter. Depth starter, I'd like to see just keep building that pitching. A starter or reliever, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We saw at the beginning of the year, we had, I think, 8 starting pitchers. Kershaw, Urias, Buehler, Bauer, Gonsolin, Price, Mitchell White. That's 7. And I forget the 8th. And we had those number of starters. We had more pitchers in the arm who were just around Major League ready. And by the NLCS Game 6, they had 2 starters. Julio Urias and Walker Buehler on 3 days rest. Because Scherzer wasn't pitching that series anymore. Kershaw was out. Bauer was out, obviously, for a long time. So, I mean, I just think that's...
starting pitching though.
Because right now we have, our rotation consists of Buehler, Urias, Price, I guess if you still want to count him, Gonsolin, Heaney. That's 5.
Okay.
Maybe you could still also count Mitchell White in there. That's 6 because he's made Major League starts before. But anyone else, I don't recall anyone else. You got guys down in the minors who are just around Major League ready, like Ryan Pepio, Landon Knack, Andre Jackson. We'll count him too because he made a start. So 7. That's 7 starters. They got a guy, Bob Miller, who just looks otherworldly. But yeah, that's 7 starters you're relying on. 3 of them who are still relatively young. A bunch of minor league arms too. So I would just keep building that presence. That veteran presence.
But that's the thing. You need reliable veteran starters because those are the people you're going to want to rely on in the postseason. A lot of these young arms, I mean, the minor leaguers obviously not, but even guys like, Price, Gonsolin, Heaney, they're likely not even going to get postseason starts because Dave Roberts, probably won't trust them in that sort of high-stakes situation.
Well, at this point, it's not even about the postseason anymore because now we have some real competition in the division.
That's true.
So at this point, it's just about us surviving a Major League season. And coming off that 60-game season, I think they relied on a couple key starters that wore down as the season went on. I mean, Julio Urias, he had never pitched more than, 90 innings in a season? And then all of a sudden, he makes 32 starts. They babied him throughout his entire career. And now, after coming off a pandemic-shortened season, now is when they want him to be a full-time ace. So he wore down. Scherzer's old, Kershaw's old. Buehler had kind of pitched this season before, but again, he was one of the starters that actually went deeper into games more than anyone else. He was in that top 5. And then you saw that once in the postseason, right around the NLCS, they just ran out of gas.
Yeah, definitely. You can't go through an entire season and then expect to go through a postseason with a 3-man rotation. That's just not doable.
I liked what the Brewers were doing. Corbin Burns, we just saw. Congratulations to him, win the Cy Young.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't go that long per start. He only pitched around 100-something innings, 150-something, 67 innings. Yeah, that's what he pitched in the regular season. And they had a 6-man rotation throughout the entire year. I think they could have gotten far if it weren't for that awful offense. But if we would have done something like that, maybe we would have been World Series champions, even with the Kershaw injury.
Yeah, if we could transition Price into being a starter again, perhaps.
Yeah, that's probably the route they're going to have to take. So anyways, one guy I want to take a second look at is Alex Cobb. He's not going to cost a lot. He's got no qualifying offer attached to him because, you look surface level wise, he sucks.
Yeah.
But you look past that, he also was a guy who had really good strikeout to walk ratio last year, so he had really good command. He's got that really good spin on his curveball. After the All-Star break, he was really good. He had a 2.63 ERA, 24 strikeouts, 12 walks. So that strikeout to walk rate right there isn't that great. But he only allowed 2 home runs. Overall, in the entire year, he allowed 5.
What about Mr. Alex Wood?
Alex Wood is another guy. Yeah, I'd like to come back. Yeah, why not? Just keep batting those guys. These guys who are veterans, who aren't going to command a lot. And going back to what I said about offense, these are guys who rely on the breaking balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Alex Wood definitely. He's another guy I like to have back. Another guy I want to take a look at, though I think he'd be a little more expensive, is Carlos Rodon of the White Sox. So he's a free agent too.
Yeah, true.
And he had a really, I think he would have won this, or would have been top 3 in this thing if he would have stayed healthy. So that's another issue, injury. Injury is going to be an issue forever. He's another guy. I really like that fastball, that hard fastball, and that slider. It's almost Kershaw-like. So maybe on a 1-year deal at a high annual price, maybe he'd be willing to take that to rebuild his market after the injury, or maybe he just wants, maybe he does want a little security. But he's a guy I take a look at. One more guy, John Gray.
Really?
Yeah, I mean he's always had that big fastball, power fastball. He's never really put out like extreme strikeout numbers, but he was pitching at Coors Field all this time, and honestly, he was actually better at Coors Field than he was away from it. So I mean, if he can, tread water there, I think he's a guy that you could also want to take a look at. He's also pretty young too.
Here's another interesting one. A pitcher who could give himself a lot of run support. That's Zach Greinke.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, did you see his pinch hits like in the World Series?
Dude, he was their best hitter the last few games.
Yeah, definitely. So if we need a pitcher to ever, if our offense is ever doing horrible, which they do sometimes, and we need the pitcher to step up, give himself run support, I mean, there's a guy.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to having Zach Greinke back in the Dodger uniform.
Yeah, maybe a short deal or something.
Yeah, definitely a 1-year deal. He's going to retire any one of these next 2 years. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer when all said and done. I mean, he's probably the smartest pitcher out there in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about adapting, his velocity's dropped a lot, but he's adapted with his command and also his slow curve, and sometimes yeah, sometimes.
Dude, he's a guy who'll tell you what pitch is coming and you still won't hit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I'd love to have Greinke back. He was one of my favorite Dodgers.
Yeah.
And here's another thing also. I don't think it's a coincidence that in 2015, which was the first year that Andrew Friedman and his staff got here, 2015 was his best year of his career by far.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's a coincidence. So I think there's still something left in there. I think they can tweak something with Greinke. And from what I gathered, he was one of Kershaw's best friends on the staff.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, I like Greinke. Yeah, he's a guy I'd like to take a look at.
Then I definitely wouldn't mind seeing him back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that covers pitchers.
Okay. So now, right-handed hitter, left-handed hitter. I mean, the easy answer is Taylor Seager, right? But I don't know if it's totally plausible. Definitely not both of them. So, let's go with the left-hander first. The guy I want to take a look at is the guy who destroyed us in the NLCS, and that's Eddie Rosario. I mean, not sign him to a mega contract, but maybe a 1 or 2 year thing. Maybe that could work. A guy who I really think is interesting is Brad Miller. He's a guy who, like Taylor, he plays everywhere. He's really good against right-hand pitching. Really great. So if they want to keep that kind of versatility there, I would take a look at him. Another guy I would take a look at is a guy I've kind of have been interested in a while, who's not the best player, not the best hitter in the world, but he can do different things also like Taylor. He has sneaky power. He can play the infield, the outfield, and he has speed. It's a guy who's also switch hitter, so I'm also cheating here. But his name is Jonathan Villar.
Oh, yeah. I know him, yeah.
That's cool.
He was. No, he was. I've always known of him more as the speedster type, right?
Yeah.
He's never been with the bat. He's never been, I guess.
He's been right around league average.
Yeah.
But he does have some sneaky pop there. And doesn't he just sound like one of those guys who's probably not going to be that great in the regular season, just lights it up in the postseason? I just feel like
somehow lights it up.
Yeah.
No, they're one of those guys who pulls a Rosarena and steals home somehow or something.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him in a Dodger uniform.
One of those guys that gets us free tacos at Taco Bell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. If we don't win the World Series, we win everyone a free taco.
Yep. Yeah. He's definitely an excitable player.
Another left-hand bat that's out there that probably won't happen because they broke a relationship there, but maybe Jock Peterson.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe. So I mean, these aren't probably superstar level names. These aren't guys that are going to be starting the next season. But these are guys that are going to be in the bench.
Yeah, utility.
10th piece. dead pieces, you know? There's just it takes a load off our rookies, you know, who, I mean, we saw how that worked out last season, you know? So I guess that takes care of the lefties. So now I want to move on to righties, which I think the righties are a little more interesting just because there's some really big names out there that I think could be had on the cheap, relatively. So the big one is Nelson Cruz. So if the DH is going to come to the NL, I think
is it actually?
I feel like it probably is. Of all the things that are being thrown out there, I think that's the most certain. But who knows?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we got to start that countdown, that clock, before we go on strike. I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I guess I'm becoming more of an pessimist.
It would be interesting to see unfold, actually.
Yeah, we haven't lived through that, so it would be.
Yeah. What was the last one?
94. Yeah.
94. Okay. Because I remember there was one in 81, I believe.
Yeah, that's when we also won the World Series.
I know.
So you see, we can't win in real regular.
We always win in weird seasons. Well, no, 88 was weird.
Yeah. Well, 88 was a weird season too. We weren't supposed to win there.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we have to be the underdogs again by a lot. Well, we were 2018. We weren't supposed to win then. Yeah. But we lost anyways. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Nelson Cruz, even at his age, he's still a leader.
Yeah, he's just
righties, lefties. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Way better than Pujols. I mean, no offense.
Oh
but,
yeah.
Yeah.
No contest.
Another guy who's interesting is he's also a utility guy. He probably would cost a lot more than Taylor or right up there. But Chris Bryant, maybe if it's a short-term
utility
deal. Well, I mean, he can play different positions, you know.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
So that's an interesting guy I'd like to choose or like to take another look at. But he probably would be a little expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Kyle Schwarber for the lefties. I didn't mention him.
Oh, I was gonna mention him, but we were on righties. What do you think about McCutchen?
Yeah, actually, I didn't realize that he was a free agent. I was looking at the free agent list before this, and I was like, oh, wow, he's a free agent. He's really good against left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
Like elite level good.
Okay.
I think he'd be a sneaky buy. And the Dodgers were interested in him back when the Pirates were trading him. They were one of the teams that were rumored to be in on him. I would think they still have some interest. Yeah, I mean, he's not a starter, but I think he's still making an impact. Why not? So yeah, Andrew McCutchen. Tommy Pham maybe from San Diego, who's always had like ups and downs in his career. Tommy Pham's the guy who hits the ball really hard, who gets on base, so he does all the little things right, but he also hits a lot of ground balls. It's just a guy who, he has really good stretches throughout the year, but the end result is just not there.
Yeah.
But again, another veteran depth piece. Here's another name, Josh Harrison. That guy can do a lot of things too.
Ooh, okay.
He kind of reminds me of Howie Kendrick.
A little bit. Yeah, I'd say out of his prime, but definitely has potential to deliver from the bench, let's say.
Definitely.
What about Eduardo Escobar?
Mark Hanna, Starling Marte.
What do you think about the World Series MVP, Jorge Soler?
Yeah, there's another guy.
That's him too, you know? A good power bat. Great power bat to have, I'd say.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, he's not really a guy you look at as an everyday superstar.
Yeah.
But he had one of those little runs. And, you know, just another guy we can add. We can have a veteran presence. Another guy who I really like, who'd be interesting, is Avisail Garcia. He does different things. He's a really good defender. He is really fast. And last season, he had a career high 29 home runs. So that's interesting too.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those are just some names thrown out there. Obviously, we're not going to get all of them, but, you know, guys like this to fill these. Oh, I found one. This is fun. Saya Suzuki being posted by Hiroshima. This is a guy who was dominating the MPB, and probably is not going to translate to over here, but it is interesting the different things he can do in terms of the batter's box. Just reading the slash line, 319, 435 on base, 592 slugging. So maybe the power isn't going to be there, but I think that 435 on base I really like. So it's a guy that knows the strike zone very well.
So an extremely patient contact player, let's say.
Yeah.
That could be good.
It'd be an interesting guy to take a look at.
Any stolen bases by any chance?
9. A whopping 9 in 13 tries. Wow.
Ooh.
Dude, let's sign him.
Ichiro.
Ichiro.
Okay. That could be interesting. And Dave Roberts, I know Dave Roberts more than most managers today, you know, likes to run. That could be interesting.
Yeah, they were running in the postseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were wild. So I guess those are the free agent picks. We're probably way off. They're probably not going to do anything this offseason. Nah, they have to.
We'll look at least one or two of our guys back. Either Kershaw or Taylor.
Oh, another right-handed bat. This is not going to happen. Carlos Correa.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. I know.
Hitter level is right up there with Seager, maybe a little less. Defense, though, that defense is really what catches my eye. At a premium position like that, yeah. If it comes down to $300 million, I'll probably take him over Seager.
Yeah, it's a dilemma for me. Skill-wise, everything's there. Skill-wise, well, obviously you'd love to have him. I just don't like him,
Yeah.
Because
it's fair.
And did you hear about? There was something he said in an interview recently where he said something about Derek Jeter, like how Derek Jeter wasn't deserving of
No, I'm with him on that one. Based off.
Okay, but here's the thing.
It comes at a stupid time when he's a free agent.
Whether Jeter is or isn't deserving. Okay, I could even agree that Jeter isn't deserving of his Gold Gloves, but I mean, look who it's coming from. So the guy,
yeah, the guy.
The guy who literally got an award, the biggest award that he didn't deserve. That's what I'm saying.
You're right.
So I wasn't crazy about Correa before, but then him doing that, like, I don't know, it just knocked him down.
Yeah, I guess it's adding salt to the wound.
Yeah, it's like, look who's talking. You're accusing someone else of not deserving something. Like, look who's talking. But, oh well, whatever.
I'll tell you this, it makes things interesting at this time of year.
It does, yeah. It's nice to have some drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Congrats to Ohtani for winning unanimously.
That was great.
Yeah.
I thought Vlad was gonna get some stinky first place votes. I mean, obviously Ohtani, he was the MVP, no doubt about it. I thought Vlad was gonna get a little more love there, but damn, that guy's a beast.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper too, pretty much shutting out all the haters. Your guy,
I mean, you guys say he's my guy. I don't know.
Awards wise, I didn't really have a problem with it. I mean, the guys put up good seasons. I think the only one I really had a problem with, kind of a bit, was the manager of the year for the AL. Just a little bit. What Scott Service did was just totally.
Wait, who was that?
Kevin Cash won it. The guy, who gave us the World Series.
I know who Kevin Cash is, yeah.
World Series, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's just being petty, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's not
everyone's deserving.
It's not one of those things where it's like I completely disagree. Like, there's no way they should have given him that, but there may have been some better options, I think.
Yeah. It's not like the Jimmy Rollins MVP in 2007.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like that controversial, that fiery. I don't know.
Matt Kemp
Ryan. Brian Braun MVP, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if he wasn't cheating, it's just Matt Kemp just did everything right that year.
Yeah, he did.
But Braun didn't deserve it at all.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that's it from us. We'll see you on our next podcast. Maybe Geronimo will be back. I guess we'll see you when the strike happens.
Yep.